Hi everyone and welcome to this one-off podcast. Today I am your host Ella Betts and I will be guiding you through some tips for working with a documentary participant when using VP for documentaries. So let's begin. For those of you who maybe don't know what virtual production or VP is, let's start there. Now, VP is an umbrella term for multiple techniques, actually, such as motion capture, seen in the film Avatar, or pre-visualization used for storyboarding. Today, we are referring to the in-camera visual effects, or ICVFX. What I mean by that is the visual effects, such as Hogwarts from Harry Potter, are now visible on camera due to big screens showing these visual effects, which are called LED volumes, like the one we have right here. Some of you may be familiar with the Star Wars series, The Mandalorian. This was the first TV series to use real-time game engines such as Unreal Engine to have a virtual background on an LED volume. Since its start, the quality of the LED volume has improved massively, to a point that you can't see that it is a screen on the camera. The real camera and the background are synchronized through camera tracking, so that when the real camera moves, it moves in the virtual space as well. Pretty clever. This with the integration of parallax between layers and the virtual background in combination with physical set, props and actors makes the final shot look real. So let's stop there. Why would you want to use this for documentary filmmaking anyway? I hear you asking the question, isn't a documentary supposed to record what is real? These are all fair questions. However, what if the location you want to film at is inaccessible? For example, you want to film inside the Twin Towers in New York, retelling the story of someone who survived 9/11. That location sadly doesn't exist anymore, but you could recreate a part of it using LED volumes. Maybe you want to have someone retell their story of climbing Mount Everest on Mount Everest, but now they're of an age where getting them onto Everest could be dangerous and they need certain safeguarding. Plus, Mount Everest is pretty hard to get to anyway. This could be another use for LED volumes for documentary. I'm not saying every case is fit for documentary, but it's certainly a useful tool in the filmmaker's toolbox. The biggest thing is just don't rule it out, as it's important to provide the safest and best options to honour a participant's story. I mean, look at Society of the Snow, a biopic that used on-location, studio, green screen and an LED volume to create a film that, in my opinion, was actually a fantastic representation of the truth and was described as a new genre of expressionistic documentary. So please watch it if you haven't, by the way. Today, we are going to dive into the creation of a documentary using VP. If you're in the beginning phases and thinking, is VP right for this shot or this documentary in general? Ask the documentary participant what they think first. Are they okay with using it to tell their story? Ask the questions. Why do you want to use this technology anyway? How's it going to help you tell this story in a way you wouldn't be able to tell it without the technology? Okay, so it's been confirmed VP will be used. Great. Now go with the participant to the LED volume studio ahead of time so everyone gets a feel for the space. You cannot pre-describe this amount of light. Let them see it beforehand. When you visit a studio, it may feel like a big cold void, especially with the sound reverberation of the LED volume in certain studios. Keep that in mind and ask the studio how we can make it more intimate. As an LED volume studio or filmmaker, host some VP workshops so there is complete transparency on the technology. The aim is to make sure your documentary participant knows exactly what an LED volume is and how it is used so they can give informed feedback. Now it's time to create the environment, both virtual for the LED volume and physical set and props to blend the scene on camera. To make sure the manufactured environment is as accurate as possible to the participant's story and actual location, think about adding multiple points of consent or sign-offs throughout the creation of the environment to allow for feedback from the participants. Think about other technologies you could use to keep them involved and informed. such as environment viewings in virtual reality. However, be careful not to trigger the participant, as virtual reality is extremely immersive. Always have a trained wellbeing professional on set, not only for sensitive stories, but also for all types of content, as we don't know what will trigger someone. I mean, what triggers you? Is it obvious? It's best to have a mental health professional involved in the entire process to support the crew and participants. While making the environment for the LED volume as a visual artist or filmmaker, reflect on whether your own biases or ideas are affecting the accuracy of the environment. Perhaps get a second opinion if you think some internal biases could be subconscious, or conduct a fact check to be sure that everyone is aware of how the images or assets are being sourced and in what way the scene is being recreated in a way that is real to the actual location or participant's memory. I mean, feelings are also embedded in a location. Think about how you feel when you go home versus when you stay in a hotel, for example. Give that a second. Does it have a different feeling? Ask the documentary participant about the environment and what emotions or feelings are associated with the specific setting for them. To also help with transparency about the feeling that will be given in the final film, think about using previs if it is possible. Okay, let's halt there for a second. What is previs? As mentioned earlier, it's a sort of storyboarding, but animated, and it visualizes the scenes before filming. This can help keep the filmmakers and participants on the same page about what the end result will look like. It's time for production. Does your participant and crew know what will be shown on the LED volume that day? When you're on location, you would have a call sheet for a specific place, right? Now the call sheet says the name of the LED volume studio. Are your participants informed of which location they will be in today? Add the environments to the call sheet or create a content release. Hold on a second. Before we turn on the LED volume, because you're at that stage now, it flickers, which is potentially dangerous for someone with epilepsy. Factor this in when planning. Compared to on location, an LED volume has a lot more crew. Maybe your participant is okay with that, but the extra lighting, shadows, and people in the distance may make them feel a little uncomfortable. So where possible, create a bubble. Anyone who doesn't need to be there goes away. Great, you wrap filming that first location, it went well, but before you put up the next scene on the LED volume, maybe shout it out so everyone in the room is reminded that the environment is about to change. Remember, this could be a location where the participant's trauma occurred, and they should have a minute to process that. Documentary filmmaking can be very impactful and have many sensitive topics. A good way to promote a healthy well-being while filming in LED is also to use it in other ways. For example, a visual cleansing of the palette. So play calm music and videos on the LED volume to refresh everybody before or during filming. Also, does your participant have a place to go in the studio that's comfortable? That may be a good addition as well. While we're talking about well-being, I want to remind you that LED volume studios also offer well-being benefits. Let's give an example. In the feature-length documentary Right to Fight, which showcases the stories of pioneers in women's boxing, the interviews were filmed on location and for pickups in an LED volume. One participant actually felt more comfortable in an LED volume studio than the actual location, which was an American diner. You may ask the question why. At the location, there were continuous retakes of the talking head interviews due to interruptions from the air conditioning, which would periodically turn on and off, and outside traffic noise as well. Not ideal. Not only that, but due to the extreme heat on the day of filming, the crew had to keep reapplying makeup to the participant because of sweating. In the LED volume studio, on the other hand, the heat and sound were controlled. The participant found the LED volume to be better by far. Even in the film, they could see a difference between the two locations. They felt that the interview filmed in the LED volume studio was more authentic to them. This is a clear example of why LED volumes can also be beneficial, but what are some others? An LED volume can be turned off, meaning you can quickly remove a participant from a location if needed. There can be improved safeguarding due to accessible facilities such as food or toilets, and it can remove the chance for potential casting biases associated with green screen. Let's give another example. Awesome Animals and Mini-Me, although not exactly a documentary, it's a fitness series for kids in which children are placed in various locations around the world using an LED volume, such as the Sahara, Arctic and mountainous areas. Certain neurodivergent communities find imaginative play impossible. For some people, imagining and playing as if they were in the Sahara, but actually in a green screen studio, would be actually impossible. So using an LED volume allowed the virtual environments or visual effects to be visible, dismantling this barrier. Right, that's it. All the information that's needed to work ethically with participants when filming a documentary in VP. But before I go, I want to give one last tip. If you are filming an interview for a documentary on location, keep the camera rolling for 5 to 10 seconds at the start and end of the interview on location. Make sure no one is in the shot and the camera is still. These can be used for plates in an LED volume if pickup interviews are required. Plates are essentially photo backgrounds that work as the virtual environment for the LED volume. This will make your VFX supervisor very happy if you end up using VP. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and good luck with your projects in VP.